Well, here we are again, second installment this week of Selling Hobson by the Pound. And this, I believe, is on the Music 24 site. And this is an extension of some of the records. I had more than one copy of this record, I think. This is a very rare record. Miles Davis and Milt Jackson Quintet, Prestige LP 7034. And I have to tell you, it is absolutely pristine. I honestly have never seen records, old jazz records, this clean. A second copy that I had of collector's item, a little bit of, it's still got a nice cover, you know, with that clarifoil kind of shininess to it. Pretty nice back, some stains, but if I recall correctly, the LP is pretty stunning. Yeah, it really is. Doesn't even look like it's got any spindle wear on it. Incredible. So those are going to be big items. Here's something I came across in going through more jazz records. These are big records. There's something else. So BN 1595, and this is an original stereo copy. Right? West 63rd Street, for those people that know about that sort of thing. And here's an original mono copy, West 63rd Street label. Both are in very good condition. I write original deep groove stereo pressing of this giant Blue Note title featuring Miles Davis. Very nice copy and hard to find as stereo as an original 63rd Street. And then I've got the mono copy, absolute original West 63rd deep groove mono copy of Blue Note's most notable and popular releases. Big Rudy Van Gelder sound. Miles Davis horn is perfectly played and recorded, as is Cannonball's beautiful tone and intonation. And I write, of course, because we put this out, remember, in mono and stereo at Classic Records. Top recommendations, hard to find in this condition. Great copy. By the way, these two records were used to remaster at Bernie Grundman Mastering. We used these to compare to the original Rudy Van Gelder tapes, and so they've got some special significance on that front as well. Goodness gracious. Segetti, a memorial release on the Beecham Society had this club, and they put out this historical release after Segetti died. And I mean, this is probably the only copy I've ever seen. And it's got a little liner notes in it and so forth with a kind of a cute green label, the Sir Thomas Beecham Society. So for violin collectors, doesn't get much rarer than that. And then I dug into my London Blueback collection, and here are some of the beautiful things, the collectible London Bluebacks from that collection. Let me just say that something that's not well known and is somewhat in dispute with some of the self-proclaimed experts, but it turns out, I know with certainty from talking to people at Decca Records, because we licensed a bunch of those titles over time for both gold CD and LP on the Decca RCAs and so forth. Anyway, we talked to them, and it turns out that the London Blueback pressings were done first and then sent across the pond so that they could be released here as London. Remember, you couldn't release Deccas in the United States because there was already a Decca record company here. So they had to have another imprint, which was London Records, which is how they were released here. And people know, I'm sure, that Blueback refers to this baby blue back color that they chose to put on all those. And those indicate the first issue of those particular titles. Here's a big one, Ensemble, Swiss Romande Orchestra, three-cornered hat by Faya. Great Ensemble Royal Ballet. Remember, Ensemble was the guy that did the Royal Ballet on RCA, which was a Decca recording, remember, at Kingsway. Absolutely amazing Decca recording, very dynamic and spacious. This 3E, 1E pressing has very quiet surfaces and was pressed by Decca in the UK before the Decca release, SXL 2296, which, by the way, brings giant money. And the reason is because the Deccas didn't come over. So anything that wasn't available here brings giant money over here. These actually bring good money in the UK. So says was pressed so that the UK releases could be simultaneous, given the extra needed shipping time to the US. Top recommendation. Here's a Campoli record, 1E, 2E, very rare. Argenta LSO Campoli. Remember the great Argenta recordings. Very, very rare. That plays with very quiet surfaces. Top recommendation. Here's another Argenta record, The Music of Spain. Absolutely stunning copy of this ultra-rare Argenta Decca recording, only released in the US as a London blueback. So this did not come out as an SXL. Pressed by Decca in the UK, this 1M pressing is nothing short of astonishing in its dynamics and has virtually no surface noise. Maybe the quietest surfaces I have ever heard on a Decca recording, period. So it might be nearly impossible to find a copy of this title in the condition. Plays conservatively near mint minus, absolute top recommendation. And then here's the big one, España. Sorry, it's got a bunch of my notes on the front. But España is widely regarded as one of the most desirable recordings. I even write that this was recorded, of course, at Kingsway. We put this out, Classic Records put this out on gold CD, so I heard the original tapes of this. It had already been put out on LP by Speaker's Corner, I think, so we didn't get a chance to do that. But the gold CD is incredibly rare and desirable now. But yeah, Kingsway Hall, extremely dynamic, lively recording. Decca pressed this copy in the UK and shipped it to the US, and then pressed the SXL version thereafter, which now sells for between $1,000 and $2,000 for a copy in this condition. So these early pressings in this condition, both LP and jacket, are extremely rare and highly sought after. This is one of the copies used by Classic Records to compare to the original master tapes when mastering the gold CD at Bernie Grundman Mastering. Absolute top recommendation. That's my notes anyway, for what it's worth. Here's another Argenta record. This looks like a radio station copy. You can see the strip here. Looks like it was played one time. 929, God knows what year that was. It was anyway. I put plays near mint with very quiet surfaces, outstanding recording and performance by Argenta, recorded by Decca. Very rare, as all the Decca Argenta recordings are. So Faya, Concerto for Harpsichord, Argenta conducting. This is an Argenta week. Gosh, I didn't realize that. Here's a very rare copy. Superb copy, Argenta Decca recording, released in the US as a London blueback, but no Decca SXL. Near perfect 1K copy. This is absolutely beautiful. It's incredible. This is highly desirable because it never got released as an SXL. So incredibly rare records here. Here's the last one, again an Argenta recording, near mint, 1E copy of this Argenta Decca recording, pressed by Decca. No SXL of this as well. This copy plays with amazing quiet surfaces, making the dynamics jump out of the darkness of the quiet background. First pressing FFSS with a mono jacket. That's the only downside. Interestingly, it's the same exact jacket, but on the stereo it says stereo over here. But you can see that it is an original FFSS. Now, how it got into a mono jacket, I can't tell you. I didn't do it, so I inherited it like this. I don't know if they ran out of jackets or who knows. I mean, it's a 70-year-old, 60-year-old, 65-year-old record, so who knows, but in fantastic condition. Finally, we're rounded out with Erica Morini, famous violinist. This was put out by Westminster. It's a kind of a compilation of all of her recordings. If you get the original records of Morini on Westminster, they are insanely expensive. So this was kind of, I don't know what the origins of this are, but it's a kind of a cool trifold jacket. So it's kind of got, you know, it's like a gatefold, but then it's got this middle jacket kind of actually taped in. That's the way it came, right? That's how they put it in. And there's some pictures of Morini and Rudzinski, who's conducting and so forth. So yeah, a very interesting compilation of Erica Morini on Westminster. This is probably going to go for some big money too, I would guess. Anyway, there you go. That's all I got for you. See you next week.